Hello everyone. In this video, let's see how we can integrate Google Signin with serverpod for Android client. In this, we are going to make changes in these two files, build.gradle and main.dot file. So let's go to build.gradle file, and here in compile SDK version, change this to 33, and we have to change the minimum SDK version to 21. So that's it from the build.gradle file, and let's go to main.dot file. In main.dot file, the client ID, this client ID belongs to the web one, so let's remove this, and now we have to pass the server client ID for Android. In server client ID, what we have to do is copy the web client ID and pass that as server client ID. So that's it. And next we have the client. So in this, the IP address change based on the device which you are running the client. So suppose if you are going to use VDI, I mean the Android virtual device, you need to change the IP address as per this one. So suppose if you are running the Flutter application in the Android Studio VDI, you have to use this IP address so that it gets automatically routed to the host. Suppose if you are running the application in a physical device and you want to connect that with the server pod, just go to system preference, and in networks you could see the IP address of this system. So get the IP address of the machine in which the server pod is running and replace that here. So that's it. By this you can connect your physical device with the server pod. So I'm going to run this application in AVD. So let's use this one. The changes which we made in this are pretty simple. So we have changed the compile SDK to 33 and the minimum SDK version to 21. These are required for having Google Signin in our Android application. And then for client we have changed the IP address, and then in sign in with Google button we have replaced the client ID, we have removed the client ID and we have included the server client ID, and in server client ID we are passing the web client ID. So these are the changes we have to make, and it's now done. Let's try to run this application. Okay, so now our application is now up and running. Let's try to sign in with Google. So we could see our email ID, and I'm going to click sign in and see we are able to successfully sign in with Google using serverpod in an Android client.